Padma reached out to Saheli, but before I go ahead, we have changed the name of the client for confidentiality, so we'll call her Padma. Just to give you an idea of her journey. So when she had reached out to us, they'd gone through an abusive situation at home. It was a very bad situation. There was physical abuse. She had reached out to Saheli, and because she was Bengali speaking, so then she was assigned to me. So when I started talking to Padma, she was in a very emotionally unstable situation. So the first step we did was I educated her on getting a restraining order against her husband. So taught her, because the police were gone already, the husband was still at home, but it was a very volatile situation that she was in. So taught her, educated her, I would say, to go to her local court, district court, and go and tell them what had happened and that the police had come. The police had actually come to the home, but they had asked her if she would like to get a restraining order, because she had no idea what a restraining order is about, so she refused to do it. But then I told her how a restraining order would help her keep her safe. So she went and got a temporary restraining order at the court, and then she was granted a 7-day restraining order. Then for the next hearing, Saheli provided her with an attorney to represent her, and the attorney went with her for the second hearing and was able to obtain a 1-year restraining order extension. So when that happens, the husband is out of the house. She was with her kids at home, but the issue was rent. The husband refused to pay rent for the apartment. She wasn't working. She had not worked. So who would pay rent? So that's where Saheli had received some funds, housing grants, and through the grant, Saheli was able to pay for her rent for, I think, 6 months. And then I worked with her to make sure that she applies for public benefits like the SNAP card, which is also called food stamps, because they were getting that, but her husband was the head of the household. But using the restraining order, we were able to make her the head of household. Then, apply for mass health, where she's again the head of household. So that was just to get her started. So rent was taken care of, food was taken care of, health insurance was taken care of. Now came the part where how long could we support her with that rent? So then we started working with I started working with her to apply for housing. And we got in touch with different housing authorities, started applying for Section 8 housing, low-income housing, earned income tax credit kind of housing. And we randomly, started applying to every possible avenue where, she would qualify. She also started taking English lessons through an organization to get a little proficient speaking and reading and writing in English. I think after 6 months or 8 months that we paid her rent, luckily she qualified for low-income housing around the Boston area, which was a huge thing. So we again helped her move from the marital rented apartment to the low-income housing in Boston. So Saheli did pay for her moving expenses, and also with a little bit of furniture and some cash to get her started over there. Once she was there, she wanted to start the divorce process. So because of her income, she qualified for the pro bono legal services kind of representation. So because she was living in Boston then, so she came under the Greater Boston Legal Services jurisdiction. So they were able to take her case. So the divorce process started. And then she also wanted to start working, but then it was hard for her to commute to work. So now she had a roof over her head, she had food. So now the next step was to get her empowered. So she had to apply for jobs. And for that, she would have to commute or go to the place of work to appear for interviews. And so through our Economic Empowerment Fund grant, we paid for her driving lessons. And so she took driving lessons and passed the road test for Massachusetts. So once she had that, she did not have the money to buy a car, but she was able to find a job closer to where she lived. So she would take the Uber or walk to her place of work and started initially working 20 hours a week or 15 hours a week. And then she brought it up to 30 hours a week. We also got her connected to a resource that helps with women with financial empowerment, financial literacy. So we got her connected to this person who helped her with budgeting, how to save money, how to use money intelligently. So she was able to save up and purchase a car. So now she had her license, she purchased a car, she has a job. So right now, as we speak today, she has a full-time job. She's divorced. Her older kid is in college. Her younger kid is in high school, and she's in a position where she has a roof over her head. She is off with the money she makes. She does not even qualify for SNAP anymore, but she's able to pay for her own food and take care of herself. She even went to her home country, paying for the airfare for all three of them, and met with her family back home. So, yeah.
This organization is really good for women, and we are really appreciate and thanks for every Sahelis and my Apu. I called her Apu. She helped me like she's my family members. When I moved from marital apartment to my apartment, my sister Lopa, her whole family helped me to bring all the staffs with me. Whole day they work with us, and I feel so proud. Like I feel so happy that I couldn't done this by myself. Thank you. I really appreciate Saheli.
Violence is not just raising hand. Violence is mental torture. It can be emotional, like saying bad things about the person's family or trying to put down her family, and mental abuse, like whatever you do is not right. Always contradict them, putting them down in the society when they're a group of people. When a man starts putting down his wife and starts making fun of her, to me, that's abuse.
I joined Saheli in 2020, right in the middle of COVID. Where I realized that women who were going through domestic violence were suffering more. And after working for a year at Saheli, I quickly realized that while intervention was important, engagement and outreach was equally important along with prevention. Because unless you go into the community to talk about the prevention and the causes of domestic violence, we will never be able to break that cycle. Prevention is important because we have to break that cycle. Unless we go talk about healthy relationships, unless we talk about what the red flags are there, we'll never be able to break that, the cycle of abuse.